Hey everybody, so today I'm going to harness the power of frankincense. I am going to make some frankincense infused oils. I'm going to infuse this frankincense in 2 different types of oil. I'm going to infuse it in castor oil and use that in an anti-inflammatory cream. And then I'm going to infuse some in sunflower oil, which is one of the highest amount of vitamin E oils. So I use that in an anti-aging face cream. But they're both going to start off the same way. If you missed part 1 of this video, that would be, you might want to start out there. It is just about the power of frankincense. Why do you want to harness it? And it talks a little bit about the anti-aging, the anti-inflammatory effects, and why we're making this cream. Also, you can take frankincense internally, and there is quite a few studies on that. So check out that video. Otherwise, I'm just going to take this frankincense. It is just the little saps, little dried pieces of sap. They almost look like little crystals or, I don't know, rocks, I guess. They smell really good. And that video also talks about why you would want to do this rather than just using the essential oil. So I'm just going to pour these in my coffee grinder. I don't know if I've ever actually used this coffee grinder for coffee. So we just use it for herbs and frankincense and stuff. All right, so I'm just going to grind this stuff up as fine as I can get it. If you do not have a coffee grinder, you could definitely grind it up in your mortar and pestle or whatever you can come up with. However you can get it into finer pieces. That's just going to help it absorb. Now I'm losing some, can you see the steam? I'm losing some already because I'm in a hurry. So if you use a coffee grinder, I would let it rest for a second before you take it out and open her up. My thing comes out. And I just have some little baby food jars. I'm only going to make this much of each oil. And then rather than using a funnel, I just like to use a little piece of paper. I feel like I don't lose as much. It is easier to brush off and get it all in the jar. I'll show you. It just looks like a fine powder. I should have used a darker piece of paper. Kind of clumps, but that's because it's a sap, but it breaks up real easy. So I'm going to put half in each jar. I know when you make a herbal oil with a leaf or a root, you really probably want, with a leaf, you want the whole jar, and then you're going to fill the rest with oil. With a root, you probably want about 1/3 of the jar, and then you're going to fill the rest with oil. I found the frankincense is very strong. The first time I made, my husband has a problem with golfer's elbow, and the first time I made him a cream from frankincense, I used essential oil. I wanted to see how it would work. It was an easy solution. The second time I made him a cream from frankincense, I used the real thing. And I probably put about this much of the powder in the jar and filled up the jar maybe to here and let it infuse, which is no way 1/3. And the first time he used it, this is like a recurring condition he has. He'll treat it and it'll go away, and then 6 months later it'll come back. But it's only been his second bout now, and a year ago the doctor told him the only thing he could do to get rid of it ever was to get surgery. So if he gets pain for a week every 6 months, I don't think that's the end of the world. This seems to be working. But so I did about this much, and he said it didn't hurt, but it was definitely strong enough. Like he got like this glowing, warming, almost pain sensation in there. So, that was partially why I made it weak. So I think I did the right thing, and I'm not going to make it any stronger. He didn't even know if he should put it on the next day, but he put it on the next day, and he didn't have that sensation anymore. So he put it on like 5 days, and his pain was, I don't know, between 5 to 7 days, and his pain was gone. So here is what we got. maybe a 1/16 of the jar. And I still have a little bit more in here. All right. I think I will put it in this one. Sorry. All right. And then I just want to add castor oil to one. People use castor oil for joint pain by itself without frankincense. There is no studies that say that it works. But there is thousands of grandmas that say that it works. So I'm going to believe the grandmas. And we're going to go with the castor oil for the inflammation cream. And then sunflower oil. Sometimes when you buy vitamin E oil, if you look at the ingredients, it will just have a bunch of different oils high in vitamin E. It'll have avocado, sunflower oil, and a couple other things. So I just stick with the sunflower oil. Sometimes it'll say vitamin E oil, but if you ask me, I've never come across a vitamin E tree. So they always are a blend, and sunflower is one of the oils that it's made from. So we're just going to leave these in here. And with the frankincense, since it's a sap, I do like to warm it up a bit. Before you even go, put this in your double boiler. You want to label it, especially I want to label it, because I have 2 different kinds of oils. I went to grab these to put on the stove, and I'm like, which one is which? They're almost the same color. They're very close. But this is definitely the castor oil. It's way thicker than the sunflower oil. But we want to label it. I have some little labels that I make. But you can just use a piece of tape or whatever you want. I like to put the common name, which is frankincense. I'm going to go Frank and castor. We're going to date it. It is 1/23/19. Scientific name, Boswellia. I like to put scientific names just because I like to learn new things. And the more you hammer stuff in, the more you'll get it. I have Boswellia carteri. And I'm planning on using this for joint cream. That's in my notes section. I have common name, scientific name, date started, where found, and a notes section on here. So our other jar is frankincense and sunflower. Scientific name, same, Boswellia carteri, I don't know, again, not Latin. I started at 1/23/19, and this is for a face cream. And I also have a soap that I make for inflammation, an inflammatory soap. I think soap should be medicinal to anything you got going on, right? If you want anti-aging, you should have anti-aging soap. If you're getting old and have some achy joints, you should use anti-inflammatory soap. So I'm going to put for face cream and for soap on the sunflower oil one. And I'm actually going to move the sunflower oil one over to this larger jar, because after I scrape this all out, there really is a lot left in here. So I'm going to make a lot more sunflower oil infused, frankincense infused sunflower oil, than I am going to make frankincense infused castor oil. All right, so there we go. I'm going to dump this in here, and we're going to meet you at the stove again for real this time, now that we got our label. So we are on our way to making a frankincense infused salve, soap, whatever you want to make. We're making a frankincense infused oil. Usually people go somewhere from there, but we're going to check out this frankincense. I put it to boil in some water. Well, not to boil, to warm up. This is what I like to do before I let it sit for the 6 weeks, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but it kind of almost becomes one with the oil. See how it'll it's kind of melted and part of the oil down there? I like to get it to that state before I let it sit and infuse. And stir it in. It's definitely thicker than the oil. It wants to sit on the bottom, but it's almost an oil itself. I just feel that it infuses better in that state, so that's all I want to do. I didn't bring the water to a boil. I brought it to, can I stick my finger in it? I can stick my finger in it for a second. And then I would get burned. And I cook all the time. I don't know if you know about, depends on how old you are, I think, and how long you've cooked. The heat, your resistance to heat will build up. I don't know if an 8-year-old could stick their finger in that water without getting burned, but I can. And I'm not recommending that you try. But you know, it has a little tiny bit of bubbles on the bottom of the pan, and it just warmed this up to a nice, pleasing, melted that frankincense. I'm gonna top this off so it's full all the way. I'm gonna cap it. I am going to stick its label back on because I had to take the label off of this one because it would have been in the water. But I knew which is which because I left the label on the big one. And then we're just gonna let it sit for 6 weeks. And then we will touch base, and I'm gonna make a frankincense cream with it. It might take less than 6 weeks because I actually had some infusing and I did that part first. So every time I use up my frankincense oil or make something with my frankincense oil, I make new frankincense oil so I'm ready when I need it. So now that I have my frankincense all infused in oil, I like to use castor oil because this rub is for inflammation, and I've always learned since I was a kid castor oil is good for inflammation, even just on its own. So I got a 1/4 cup of castor oil infused with frankincense. I left the chunks in the bottom. Can only infuse some more while I'm making the salve. Then to that, we're going to just add 2 tablespoons of beeswax. I have it measured out from my bee guy in tablespoon-sized chunks. And then a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. I like a pretty thick salve. If you like it thinner, you might want less beeswax. So I use about 2 tablespoons of beeswax to a 1/2 cup of oil. I like a 1/4 cup of liquid oil and a 1/4 cup of solid, whichever oils you choose. So all we gotta do now is probably turn this down a bit, but just let this melt down in the double boiler. Then we'll add a few essential oils and dump it in a tin. And hopefully this will get Tim's elbow right where it should be. All right, so now that I got everything all melted up, I'm gonna add my essential oils. I like to add 40 drops per 1/4 cup. So I have about 3/4 of a cup here. So that would be almost 120 drops. But that would be if I was using straight up essential oils. Right now I have an oil infused with frankincense. So I'm only gonna add 20 drops per 1/4 cup. And then the real frankincense is already in there. I prefer to use the real thing if at all possible, but I have some eucalyptus and cypress essential oil that I'm adding to this anti-inflammatory rub. Cypress will improve your circulation and decreases fluid retention. And then I'm putting eucalyptus in there. It's a natural pain reliever. It'll improve the circulation to help carry that stuff away, and it reduces inflammation. I know what you guys are thinking. Why not turmeric? Turmeric, turmeric, turmeric. #1 for inflammation. I know it. But he is already using a turmeric poultice and taking some golden milk every day. So we're trying something different with the salve. So since this is 3/4 of a cup, and I like want to go with 20 drops per quarter of a cup, I got 30 drops of eucalyptus, and I have 30 drops of the cypress, and I already measured it out. And I'm just going to stir it in there, turn it off, and put it right in my container. Cover it up. And I also am screwing up with the plastic. I do know that too. But my dog still ate my wooden spoon, and I haven't went and gotten a new one yet. I really have to put it on my list. That's like my 4th wooden spoon. I have to let my dog, not let my dogs lick it off anymore, because they like to eat them. Always wipe off, if you have a double boiler, the bottom before you start pouring it, because otherwise all those drips are gonna run up into your salve. So we're just gonna, I'm gonna pour it right in this glass jar. Oh man, I was sure it would fit. Doesn't fit. And there is still some frankincense bits in there. And if I was selling this or giving it to someone else, I really wouldn't leave them in there. But since it's for us at my house, I am not gonna worry about it. They're only gonna infuse more. And they're heavy, so they're gonna sit at the bottom, so you're not gonna really witness any of those chunks till the salve is almost gone anyways. So hopefully when he gets home, he will be really happy, because I know he's been waiting for this. He used it up like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, it's not infused enough yet. So he's actually been dipping in my infusion jar with just the castor oil and frankincense with his fingers. He's like, I need my salve. So here we go. We have a frankincense, eucalyptus, and cypress anti-inflammatory salve. We're using this for golfer's elbow, but I think it would work well for any type of arthritis, carpal tunnel, any inflammatory condition of the joints. And then you want to close them up right away so everything doesn't evaporate while it's still warm. And this one is up to the tippity top. I don't know if you can even see how full it is. But I think it will be okay. We're just gonna cool them off and we'll put them into storage. All right, we'll see you next time. Hopefully by then we won't have any more golfer's elbow at my house. All right, bye. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, you have your own advice you'd like to share with people, put it underneath so we know there is somebody listening out there. I will talk to you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.